Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming to Millionaire Morning. This is Mondays are my favorite day, and so Mondays we get to talk about millionaire mindset and the mindset behind success. And today we are going to talk about the key to success. And a lot of people have different ideas about how to get successful. In fact, success means very different things for a lot of people. We've talked about before what success is, and a lot of people reach success in different ways. And a lot of them say like, oh, well, this is how I found it or whatnot. There are a lot of paths to success. Let's put it that way. And but the reality is every single one of those paths to success have a common thread. That common thread is value. Success, and the key to finding success is value. Adding value to anything and everything that you're doing, whether that's relationships, business, getting customers. Value is the common thread and the key to being successful at anything. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about why value matters and what value is, and some practical ways to add value to anything that you're doing, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in business, or in getting clients and offer some sort of offering or business offering. So let's start with why value matters. Value matters because it separates all of the profitable businesses from businesses that aren't profitable, right? The businesses that are profitable and massively successful added more value because what they did was they created a better product that solved more problems in your life, right? And so if you think about, we often use the example of an iPhone versus a crappy Android, and a crappy Android doesn't add a lot of value to your life. In fact, it may even create more problems because the Android doesn't work as well, and there's not a lot of features, and apps don't run well, and and I'm not talking about all Androids. None of you Samsung lovers come chase me down with pitchforks, but adding value to your life via a product and features. So value is what separates successful businesses from unsuccessful businesses. Value is also what separates people who have a lot of friends and people who don't have a lot of friends. Value separates people who are rich and people who are poor. Think about it. The people that really made their wealth in this country, I'm not talking about the people that just got it or it was given to them by their parents or things like that, but the people that really made wealth in this country, in America, and in the world in general, outside of oligarchs and things like that, the people that actually made wealth did it by adding value in some area of life. They created a product, they innovated, they invented something that added value to people's lives. And so the key to literally making anything successful is value, and what separates the successful people, the businesses that are successful, the friendships that are successful, all of those different things is value. Think about your friends. Like, is there any friend in your life that you're like, wow, people just love being around them. They're magnetic, like absolutely love being around them, loves talking with them. They always seem to have the connection, they've got the guy. And you always wonder, well, what makes them so special? Like, I don't understand what makes them so special. And at the end of the day, the difference is that those people are always adding value to people's lives. The reason that they've always got the guy, in the sense that, oh, I've got a guy you can talk to about that, or I've got a guy you can talk to about that, is because they're adding value to those very people that they're referring out, and they're adding value to your life when you need somebody. And so they end up being that connection. Now, that's just an example. There are many, many, many ways to add value in relationships. We're going to focus on 3 areas today, actually, that you can add value to people's lives in. That is in your relationships, in business, and in getting clients. The reason that I separated business and clients is because there are some people on this call and that will watch this stream later who own businesses, and then there are some people who don't, but they still serve clients, right? And so you work, you're a manager, you're a business, or you're a employee, but you still serve clients. And so there's still an opportunity for you to add more value. And the more value that you add to those clients, whether they're your clients or not, the better off you're going to be, because you're going to get raises. Your managers are going to see you as more valuable. There's a lot of value to adding value in multiple different departments. But the places that I want to work through today, the 3 departments of your life, so to speak, are adding value in relationships, adding value in business, and adding value in clients and customers. So I want to talk a little bit first about what value is. So I went on Google and I literally Googled, what is value? And the definition came up. And of course, this is from Webster, not actually Google, but it's okay. Google pulls off everybody else anyway. So it's the first thing that comes up is the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. So the value of something is based on how useful that is, or what problem that that object or whatever it is that has value solves. So you can almost boil value down into a solution. Value equals solution in a sense. The second definition is a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. Was multiple ways that I could have went with this whole, the key to success and value. And the second way is more of an intrapersonal instead of a external application to value. Intrapersonally, the values that you have in life and the values that you hold dear are the principles and the concepts that you see the entire world through. Your values in life. For example, one of my values that you've probably heard me say over and over and over again is giving, right? I believe that, and giving of money. I honestly believe that giving of money is very, very important, and it keeps you humble. It keeps you structured. It keeps you focused. It not to mention, you get it tenfold back, whether you want to call it the universe, karma, tithe, God, you get that giving back. And that's a principle. That is a value of mine. Family is a huge value of mine. I believe that if you put your family first, and if you put your family above all other things in your life, including this project, including hustle, including my businesses, when you put your family ahead of everything else, you see success in multiple different areas because you're balanced. And so I believe that there are multiple ways to interpret value, but today I'm going to focus on value in the sense of externally, not your interpersonal values and your interpersonal beliefs and how you see the world, but the values in the sense of how you can add value to relationships, business, and clients. And even if you don't own your own business, every single one of these are going to apply to you. And the concepts that we're going to walk through very shortly are applicable no matter where you are in life and what position you are. And so I'm very excited to go through these. I actually call this the value cycle. The problem is that's already used when you talk about marketing, is the value cycle in marketing and advertising. So I'm going to take a quick break here for just a second. And when I come back, we're going to talk about how to add value in relationships, business, and clients. Welcome back, guys. Sorry, I had a scratch in my throat and I had to cough. But today on Millionaire Mindset, we are talking about the key to success, and the fact that the key to success is found in value, the value you add externally. We just talked about how value can be internal, and the values that you hold dear and give you the outlook on life that you have. Think of values internally as a lens. But today, we're going to talk about the value that you can offer in relationships, business, and clients, and how to use value to drive success in anything that you do. And the irony here is, or the cool thing here is the internal values, which maybe we'll talk about on Wednesday with Joel in the lab, right here on this channel. But the internal values are what actually drive the value that you offer to people externally. And so what we're going to dive into right now is what I call the value cycle. Now, there is already a value cycle out there. It's in marketing and it's marketing material and all of this stuff, and how to build value cycles in business and everything. But because I wanted to take a bit of a broader approach and take a step out and say, hey, how can we apply value to any area of our lives? I created 3 steps, and it's more of a cycle, but 3 steps. It's a rinse and repeat, do over and over again kind of thing to add value to your relationships, add value to your businesses, add value to your business relationships, and add value to your clients, whether they're your clients or other people's clients. Truly, you can be successful at literally anything if you create the right value. We mentioned a second ago that value is what separates the profitable businesses and the massively successful businesses with businesses that don't do very well and aren't very profitable. Think of Apple versus a crappy Android brand that you know of. You're like, wait a minute. Apple adds all this value, and sure, it costs money, and we'll get into that in a second, how you can use money to drive value. But oftentimes, the things that are most valuable in life are the most expensive things in life. And that's a very important thing to consider or to realize, is that value is not cheap. It means somebody had to create or innovate or think of or pay for or something. Somebody had to produce the value that you're consuming or you're taking part of, and it wasn't cheap. Value is not something that can just be pulled out of thin air. Small things can be valuable. Don't get me wrong. Small things can be valuable, but value is produced. Value is thought through. Value is considered. Value is something that takes time to develop. Companies don't have value right off the bat. Usually they have one offering and it's not a super valuable offering. And over time, they begin adding more features or more value to that offering. And they start saying, hey, also, if you pay for this, you get X, Y, you get Z, you get all these different things. Over time, companies begin to add more value to their products because they learn how to scale. But that's not right off the bat. Value is built, and it's also earned, frankly, but we'll get into that here in a second. So how do you build value in anything? How do you add value to anything to make anything that you do in life successful? If the key to success is value, how do you add value? I like to call this the value cycle. So step 1 is give. That's right. Step 1 to adding value to anything: your relationships, your friendships, your business relationships, your business, if you run a business, your clients, anything. Step 1 to adding value to any of those is to give. Nobody likes a taker. Nobody likes somebody that every time you see them, they're asking for something. Hey man, can you float me $100? Or hey man, can you do this? Or nobody likes that. And it's not even taking of money, it's taking of energy. I mean, I don't know if you've ever sat down and talked to somebody at the table and all they ever do is talk about their problems constantly. And you're like, dear Lord, like, do you have anything good in your life? And the reality is that nobody wants to hang out with them again. Like, it's like, oh, you're such a pain to hang out with. Like, I don't want to sit and talk to you if all you're going to talk to me about is your problems. And there's a difference when there's a back and forth, when both parties are giving and taking, when both parties are saying, hey, here's what's going on in my life. What's going on in your life? And there's a moment of like transaction almost. But the best transactions in the world, and everything is a transaction. Your relationships are a transaction. Business relationships are transactions, friendships are transactions, marriages are transactions in a sense. Everything in the world is a transaction. And when you learn to master the art of a transaction in the sense of giving value first and being the first person to give. And there are a million applications to this step one, so bear with me. But when you learn to master the art of a transaction, and when you learn to master how to be the person that gives first, you will find your relationships explode. They blossom. The relationships you already have get deeper. Your business relationships, people begin to want to do more things for you and on behalf of you than before, because you're always sowing into that relationship. You're always the first one to give. And so the first step to the value cycle is to give. In the sense of business specifically, I heard this phrase once and I absolutely loved it. And I just could never stop thinking about it. Whenever I started a project or a business, somebody once told me, and I can't take credit for this, but somebody once told me, what everyone else is charging for is what you should be giving away. And I'm pretty sure that Gary Vee also repeats that quite a bit. And so, if Gary Vee says it, it's true. But, what everyone else is charging for, you should be giving away for free. If you're trying to start a business, if you're trying to start a project, or even honestly, if you're working under somebody and you have the freedom to really add more value to customers and add more value to the business that you're working with, and you have the opportunity to give away certain things, give away the things that everyone else is charging money for, and you will stand so far above the crowd. And you might say, but Jonathan, I don't understand. If I give it away, how am I supposed to charge for it? We'll get there. But step one of the value cycle is giving. That's in relationships. We'll start there. Relationships should focus on, if you have friendships, you have relationships, if you have business relationships, it doesn't matter. Your relationships with people should always, always focus on what you can give first. And I know that maybe that isn't something that a lot of people talk about or think about. And I know a lot of you watching this call live, you're dedicated members of the community. You guys love what we're doing here. And you know that's a personal value that you hold dear. And I know that about you because you're part of this community. And you wouldn't be if you didn't see the value of what we're doing with the community giving and everything. And so I know this is already something that you are passionate about. But when you start with giving in a relationship, you will find that people want to hang around you. People want to come to you first. People want to hear everything that's going on in your life, because when somebody sees that you're giving, they ask themselves internally, wait a minute, if they're able to give this and still be happy and still be excited and still be, passionate or whatever, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And people are intrigued and they want to learn. They want to understand. They want to follow you, and they want to be around you. Everybody wants to be around a giver, because givers are people that add value to your life. And so step one to the value cycle is to give in relationships, in business. So what everybody else is charging for, give away for free. When I first started in business, when I first started my web design company, I actually gave away multiple websites for free on Craigslist. I listed it and I was like, okay, I've never built a website before. So in order to build a website, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give away 2 free websites on Craigslist, and to the first 2 people that called. And I did. And they were the first 2 websites I had ever made. I was in college and I needed to pay my way through college. And I Googled how to make money online, and it was web design, the first thing that came up. So I was like, well, I've never built a website, so let me give away 2 websites so I can learn how to build it. And I did. And I built the first 2 websites, and they weren't amazing, but hey, they were free. And I solved somebody else's problem, and I gave value. And then in return, I asked them, can you give me a referral? And they did. And that's what sparked my entire web design business. And honestly, that was the spark of all business for me. And so having actual real clients. And so it started from giving. In the Hustle Project, we did our best in the very beginning to give as much value as we could in the very beginning before we ever asked anything in return from people, because we wanted to show people we're not out for your money. We're not out for just your fast cash. We're not out to just rake you dry and then run away. We wanted to add value to people's lives. And I believe people resonated with that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this right now. And so that's a principle that I followed, and the first step that I followed in my own life to add value to my relationships, my businesses, and my clients. The reality is when you think about giving, think about it in the sense of, how can I help whoever I'm in front of? My client, my employees, my business, my relationships. How can I help this person first? How can I add value to their lives first before I ever ask anything in return? That's why this is step one, because trust me, we're going to get to the point where you're going to make money. But before you make money, you have to add value. Imagine companies, and I know that in the NFT world, it's very backwards, and a lot of times they promise value, ask for money, and then never deliver value. But in the Web 2 world, you can't get away with that. In the actual business world, you can't get away with that. You have to build value first, then ask for money. You have to say, this is what I've built, and this is what is going to change your life. This product, this training, this course, whatever. This is what I've built, and now I'm going to give it to you if you give me X, Y, and Z. In the Web 2 world, you have to add value before you ever ask for money. And so it's a very powerful principle when you start with giving. The first of the 3 steps of the value cycle is to start with giving. What value can you add without asking anything in return yet? What value can you add to your friends, your family, your relationships, your businesses, and your clients and customers to make all of those things successful? Step 1 to making anything successful is to give. And that's the reality, is taking a step back and saying, wait a minute. If I'm going to ask, one day I'm going to need something, right? So I think about this all the time. I'm like, you know what? One day I'm really going to need something. And who are the people that are going to be there for me? And anytime I'm like, oh, they will, I realize they're going to be there because I help them with this, I help them with this, I help them with that. Now, it's not transactional in the sense that I only give so that one day they're going to be there, fending me and helping me or whatever. That's not the point. The point is that there's a lot of value, and there's depth in being there for people, even when you don't need anything in return yet. And when you focus on how can I add value to people's lives right now, because I know in the future, whenever I need to start something, this is really cool. So some of the core people in this community were part of, in the Hustle community on Discord, were part of a prior project called Meta Mansions that I wasn't on staff or leadership or anything on that project, but I was part of the community, and I loved the community, and I always wanted to give back. And so I would do these random drawings, even though Meta Mansions wasn't my business at all. I would do these random drawings in the community. I'd give away mansions. I'd give away money. I, help people. Anytime I saw somebody that was like, hey, I can't pay rent, or I can't do this, I would slip into their DMs, help them out. And that's not, I'm using this as a principle. And I want you to understand that I'm not trying to, better Jonathan, because I'm nothing. Don't follow me. Follow the principles. Follow the things that made me successful. And adding value to people's lives is one of those things. But inside this Meta Mansions community, those were the very first people that joined the Discord. And some of those were the very first people that minted our project on Hustle. They were there for me. They were there for the vision. They were there for the project when nobody else was, because I had taken the time without asking anything in return. Months and months earlier, I had just helped, and I had just been there adding value to their lives. You never know when you're going to need people. Now, again, there's 3 main areas we're focusing on here: relationships, business, and clients. So I'm not just talking about friends. I'm also talking about, if you're starting a business, getting clients. The number one way to get clients is to give. Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, you give a lead magnet, it's a free ebook, it's a free, whatever. You give a coupon, a discount, you're giving. It's what attracts, it's called the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity is if I give you something, you automatically feel inclined to return the favor. So if on a lead page you see, ooh, download this free resource that actually solves a problem for you, you're like, wow, that's really cool. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this ebook. I'm going to spend my time and energy working on this ebook, or this lead magnet is what they're called, or value object is what I like to call them. But you're going to give this value object that you've spent time and energy building, something that actually solves people's problems, and you're going to hand that to your customer. And then they're like, oh, cool, I get it for free. I love free. And they put their email in, and boom, the next page is, oh, by the way, if you want to sign up for this service, we'll help you solve this problem. And it's only $20 a month. And then the law of reciprocity kicks in, and they're like, well, they just subconsciously, without even thinking, they just gave me this. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign up for the product or service. Giving is the foundational piece of growing customers and growing clientele. Everybody responds to giving, no matter what. Everybody responds to getting something for free, right? Even if we know it's not free, even if we know it's a trap, even if we know that there's a hook, it doesn't matter. By nature, we chase it because we're like, ooh, that's no work. I'm going to go run after that. I'm going to get it. And so some of the best businesses in the world use the law of reciprocity and use giving as the first piece of the value cycle to drive their clientele and drive their business and jumpstart their businesses. That's why you go to a store that just opened, grand opening, everything's 25% off. Guess what? They're giving. And you fell for it. You went in there and you bought something for 75% of the price, but they gave. And sure, maybe that's not literal giving because they just withheld, but they withheld their profits, And so when you start any business, any project, any relationship, any business relationship with giving, you will see immediate and incredible success over time as you build. And giving is the catalyst to adding value. It is step one to adding value. It's what starts and jump starts your value cycle. And also if you have business relationships, right? So giving is so important in business relationships because when business people, I have a lot of business people that are friends and colleagues and people I hang out with, go get a steak, go get a whiskey with. They're way more successful than I am, and I'll ever be. And had I started those relationships, most of the time they're used to people coming to them and saying, hey, I want to, do this, put money in my business. People are always asking successful people for something, right? And I learned that the only way to build successful business relationships, and the best way to build successful business relationships that help fuel your future projects, is to give first and not be one of those people that come up behind them and say, hey, I need this. Can you help me with this? Because everybody's trying to get something from successful people. So I learned very quickly that the more that I was able to offer and give, even if it was just a small amount to these successful business people, the longer term those relationships lasted, and the more I got out of those relationships in the long run, both friendship wise, because guess what? It is very lonely in business. It is a lonely road to the top. You do not have a lot of friends. You have a lot of people that call you friend, but there are not a lot of people you can relate to, right? Barely any of my old friends from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago have any idea what it is I do or how much I work or what it's like to have employees. They have no clue. They just don't know. So it's very hard to relate to them. And so these business relationships, the best way to make them successful is to add value to them right off the bat. And so if you're looking for a mentor, a business person, an investor, don't ask for the investment on the first lunch. Just don't. Secondly, what are you doing to give to them in a way that nobody else does? You think other, people in your position pay for their dinner or pay for their meal? No. So pay for it. Be the person that does the thing that nobody else is going to do. Add the value to them. Step one, I just want to buy your lunch. I just want to buy dinner. I just want to buy this. I want to buy drinks. It's on me tonight. Of course they can afford it. That's not the point. It's a gesture. It's a principle. What are you going to do to give first and to not, and I'm spending way too long on this point, but what are you going to do to add value to their life before you ever ask for something in return? Because nobody wants to give to somebody that hasn't given to them first. And it doesn't have to be proportionate. And that's what most people don't understand is the first step of the value cycle being giving doesn't have to be proportionate. You don't have to give $100 to ask for $100. It doesn't work like that. It's very simple to surprise. It's very easy, actually, to surprise a successful person. Right now, we're talking about business relationships specifically, but it's very easy to surprise a successful business person by doing small things like paying for the lunch or not asking for anything in return. When you first go to lunch to them, I just want to get to know you. Ask about their lives. Why did they start in business? How did they grow up? Nobody asks those things to successful people. They never ask, what's your life like? What do you enjoy? Because all they want from them is their money. But that's what I'm saying is in the sense of giving, if you give value first, and value can be represented in a lot of different things than just money. Value can be represented in you just giving a damn about them and talking to them and getting to know them. So, in summary, step one of the value cycle is give. In the sense of relationships, what are you doing to add value to your friendships, to your family, and to the business relationships? How are you helping the people around you and being a source of help instead of someone that's always sucking everything from you? In the sense of business relationships, how are you standing out from the crowd in those business relationships by adding value to their lives and doing things that nobody else does when they're around them because they're successful? How are you paying for their dinner? Asking about their lives before you ever ask for anything in return, adding value to them in a way that nobody else does. Everybody expects them to pay for dinner. Everybody expects them just to shill out money. Everybody expects successful people to just not have a personality, or they're a person too. They had a childhood. They grew up. And in clients specifically, you can add value by solving a problem first, giving them something, giving away something that someone else charges for. And that's a fast way to attract clients in the sense of giving before you ever ask something in return. And on that last point, the giving to the clients and everything, that's actually part of the Hustle Academy that I wrote, is how to really shape what I call a value object, which is something that is a free piece of value that maybe somebody else is charging $100 for, or pay me $1,000 and I'll get on a call and I'll give you this for, or whatever. And I'm not talking a free consultation. I'm talking about what is something that you can honestly pour your heart into, that you can give people and give them constantly. If you're trying to build an audience, YouTube's a great example. If you're trying to build an audience on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, what value are you offering that audience? What value objects are you actually giving to them that have true value? This stuff, I've had so many people come and tell me, Jonathan, why are you just talking about these things? You need to do coaching. You could be making $10,000 a call, every client if you did coaching, because you've made millions and millions, millions of dollars in your life. And you did it from going homeless to, and everybody's like, hey, you could be making money off of this. And I'm like, but I don't want to. I want to give this stuff as free as I can. And really, the value should be given and this is in the academy too, but when you really want to make something successful, the value should be given in a generic form. Here is how you solve this small problem. And then the payment should be given when you help them solve that problem. So tell them exactly how to solve it. And then at the back end, say, I'm going to help you solve this problem. And if you want to make tens of thousands of dollars coaching, if you want to make, that is the formula that is the most successful coaches use everywhere. And I just gave it away to you for free, is build a value object that says, here's how you solve this problem. And then say, but if you don't want to solve it, you can pay me and I'll help you solve it right now. That's what the most successful businesses, coaches, everything. And we'll get into the marketing side of that a little bit later. But today we're talking about the value cycle. So step 1 in the value cycle is to give. Step 2 in the value cycle is to earn. You heard me right, to earn. Jonathan, what does that mean? Why is step 2 earning? That doesn't make any sense, because how am I adding some value to someone else's life if I'm earning? Let me explain. You earn, the best way to earn is to solve someone's problem. That's what we just talked about a second ago, is when you solve somebody's problem for them, you can add value, or that is value. So you can almost use value and solution as a synonymous. They're both correlated in the fact that when you solve somebody's problem, you are adding value to their lives. And so that's why I put step 2 as earn, is because you cannot add more value past what you've already given. So step 1 is give, which is your, in a marketing funnel, that's your lead magnet. In a relationship, that's how can you help somebody. In a business relationship, that's how can you show a business person that you care about them instead of just their money. And then step 2 is earn. So how can you earn money? Because the more money that you earn, the more value you can be to the people around you, your customers, your business relationships, and your personal friendships. And earn doesn't just apply to money. So step 2, earn, is both financially, it's how do you grow your network, all of those things. So let's dive in. The easiest way to earn in business is to solve somebody's problem, right? So think about the SaaS products that we're building, or any SaaS product. It solves somebody's problem, a very simple problem, a micro problem. I need to send an email and it needs to be automated and it needs X, Y, and Z. Great. Here's a new platform that does that. And you know what MailChimp does? MailChimp releases they take step 1, which is give, and they release an ebook that's, here's the 10 top ways that you can use emails to make millions of dollars. And everybody's like, oh, I want to download it. And then they start pitching you on MailChimp and how they can help you solve that problem and how they can help you build that automated email funnel and everything. And so they earn after they've given something. You have to earn money, or earn in anything you're building. If you're in business, you've got customers, if you're, even in your relationships, you have to earn to give back, right? So even in the context of a relationship, let's start there. So your friendships, you have friends that suck the life out of you, yada, yada, yada. You don't want to hang around them, and you have nothing to give them. You have no energy left to give them because they never gave you any energy. You have no patience left to give them because they never gave you patience. You have no, and so to start, it's like when you start a relationship, the goal is you put that first step forward and you say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give what I need, which is, I don't know, I need friendship. So I'm going to give friendship. And then as that person sucks the life out of you and takes, you have nothing left to give, right? So if you just gave everything away, you would have nothing left to give. Well, that also applies in business. If you just gave all the business away and you just gave everything for free, that's why when people are sitting on their couch all day long and say, oh, I want things for free. I want free this, free this, free this. I'm like, what? How do you expect somebody's got to pay for that? Like, somebody's got to build that. Businesses and the economy, and I'm not going to get into politics, but it cannot be successful if It doesn't earn, because money has to drive that. Money, gold, I don't care, whatever, commerce. Everything that's successful has to earn. So first you give, and next you earn. And we're going to get into the third in just a second, but you use those earnings to drive the third piece and add more value. But you earn, and you earn by solving a problem. That is both in relationships. You solve a problem by sitting there and saying, hey, tell me about what's going on with your wife. And maybe their problem is they just need a shoulder. Maybe their problem is that they just need a friend, or they just need somebody to tell them, slap them across the cheek and say, hey, you're being an idiot. You don't know what they need. You have to listen and, all this stuff. But when you find out what they need, you help solve that problem, right? In relationships, you become that solution. You're there for them as their friend, right? In business, you can only earn by solving a problem. Nobody's going to sign up for a product that does not solve their problem. They're not going to stick around, because why? They're going to go find another product that solves their problem. In business relationships, you're helping solve a problem, right? So often, the best business relationships that I've ever had were mutual. No matter how wealthy I was compared to them, or they were compared to me, it was mutual. I want to help you solve something so that, and you're going to help me solve something. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement. Hey, let's work on this project together because it solves your problem and it solves my problem. The best business relationships, the best clients come from solving somebody's problem. You cannot earn anything in this world if you do not solve a problem. And that applies to employees too, W-2 employees. If you're working for somebody, guess what? You're helping solve their problem. They need somebody to, destroy the pavement, or put stamps on an envelope, or, bring boxes in from the truck, or flip burgers, or it doesn't matter. It's, they need somebody, they need you to do something that they do not have the time to do personally. And so you are solving a problem and you're earning. So step one is to give. What can you give for free and that actually has value and helps somebody's life? And I'd venture to say, what can you give that solves a problem in their life? And then earn. And you earn by solving a big problem in somebody's life, if that's a customer, a business relationship, a personal relationship. And third is reward. So we have 3 steps to the value cycle: give, earn, and reward. You have to give something first before you ever ask something in return, whether you're talking about customers, relationships, business relationships. Then you have to earn. So you have to earn in a relationship. You have to get fed back so that you can keep giving. You can't just somebody suck the life out of you all the time. You have to earn money from your clients. You have to earn business contracts from business relationships if it's going to continually being mutually beneficial. And then step 3, reward. So you take those earnings, whether that's emotional earnings, whether that's monetary earnings, whether that's relational earnings in the sense that so-and-so business relationship introduced you to so-and-so, and you're 3 degrees away from everybody or anybody that you want to know, is what they say. So your earnings can be in multiple different formats. And the last is reward. You take those earnings, the money, the emotional earnings, the relationship earnings, and you reinvest or reward by adding more value. Okay? So you add more value in a number of ways. In a relationship, it's a cycle, right? You're telling me about your life. I'm telling you about my life. We go back and forth, and whatever encouragement I just got from you because you were like, F them, you're stronger than that. Let's go, whatever. Oh, wow, I'm encouraged now. I'm going to reward you. And I know this might sound weird, but trust me, it makes sense when you see the full picture. I'm going to reward that relationship by literally giving back that same thing you just gave to me. I'm going to be encouraging. I'm going to be motivational. I'm going to help you. In a business relationship, when you earn something from a business relationship, whether that is financially, whether somebody connected you with a deal that you made a lot of money from, or whether somebody connected you to a person that you really needed connected to, reward is the most powerful piece and the cap to this entire thing. So giving starts it. Giving is the catalyst. Earning is the foundation, right? The fuel to keep you going, to keep that relationship going, to keep that business going, to keep that your clients coming in. Earning is the fuel. Giving is a catalyst, earning is a fuel, and reward is the reinforcement. So it restarts the cycle. When you take those earnings, so say a business person, and this is a principle I learned early on in business, say a business person gets you a deal, you sign a contract for $100,000, and this person was the one that introduced it. You give them back something called a finder's fee, which is 5 to 15%. And most people say, oh my God, that's insane. Well, how much work do you think it took that person to build that relationship, and that person that, gave you that relationship so that you could make more money? How many steak dinners did that take? How many they gave first to build that relationship, and then they introduced you and you made money off that relationship. And the best thing to preserve, and the ethical thing, and in business, it's actually expected in big business, it's expected that you give finder fees back to that person. And it's something that I'm very, very adamant about, because I want to know that if I introduce you to somebody, that you're going to honor that introduction, and you're going to understand that it took me 20 steak dinners just to get a relationship with that person, to where I was able to introduce people. And that took me effort on my side. And so you're rewarding that effort, and you're reinforcing that person's desire to continue giving you more relationships, right? And so you're literally just giving back, essentially, and you're honoring the effort and everything. So reward really stands for reinvest. Almost. So you're reinvesting. So we talked about in relationships how you're reinvesting. Whatever somebody gives you in a relationship, you're reinvesting that back into a relationship. If they give you love, you're reinvesting love back into them, right? Think of a marriage. In business relationships, when somebody gives you a big contact and you're giving them a finder's fee because you're honoring that relationship, and all of a sudden they want to give you more relationships. They're like, oh my gosh, I just made, a couple $1,000 just because I connected this guy. This is awesome. Who else do I know that I can help him with? How else can I help him? You are in clients, rewarding your clients after they've earned, adding more value to the end, to after they've paid, is one of the most important pieces of this entire puzzle. So you've given them something, a value object, you've given them something that has a lot of potential to solve one of their problems. Then you've earned something off of them by solving a bigger problem. So you said, hey, you now sign up for this $20 a month and I'll help you solve this problem. And they're signed up, they're paying you, you've earned money. Now use a small piece of that money to reward them by adding more value, saying, hey, you just signed up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a couple extra hours into this. I'm going to, now you get X, Y, or Z. NFT projects are great at doing this, actually. NFT projects add a lot of value after you mint. They say, hey, we want to now add this new utility, this new thing. If you own one, they're not asking for any more money from you. They're taking some of the money that they've earned and they're reinvesting it or rewarding the people that purchased from them. That is what inspires loyalty in relationships. It inspires loyalty in relationships by you, my train of thought went off. I'm going to restart that thought. Rewarding your customers, rewarding relationships, rewarding business contacts, and rewarding your clients is what adds loyalty to those things. It adds that loyalty cycle, if you will, and that dedication to you and that product. In relationships, loyalty is made by you being there for people when they need you, and them being there for you when they need, or when you need them. Loyalty in business relationships are created when somebody feels honored, and when somebody feels appreciated, and when somebody feels like you're not just there to suck the life out of them. They begin giving you loyalty when they receive the same reward that you receive. When somebody gives you a relationship or connects you with a deal, and you give them a piece of that deal and you say, hey, I'm just giving this back to you, and you both win, that creates loyalty, because then they know you're not there to abuse the relationship. You're not there to take it. Loyalty is created in customers and in clients when you reward those clients after they've paid you, when you sow right back or invest right back into them and say, hey, by the way, I'm adding this to this relationship. I'm giving you also these things. And oftentimes it doesn't have to cost you much. You can talk about like a million different ways to scale reward when you're talking about your customers, but just adding more value after they have paid you is so important. And I'm not just talking about doing a good job. You better be doing a good job on your product. But then past that, what can you give them? Even if it's small, even if it's free to you, but it adds value to them, what can you give them after they've paid that invokes loyalty, and they feel like, wow, I paid for this, but I'm also getting this. Some of the best customers I ever had in software development, in web design, in marketing, in anything, was after they paid me, I came back to them and I said, hey, we just did this. We're we're also gonna throw in this. We're super excited. We're gonna throw this thing. And they're like, whoa, like, thank you so much. Like, I feel like you care about what you're doing for me. I feel like you care about the effort that you're putting into this product or whatever it is that you're producing. So again, to just review how you can add value to relationships, business, clients, truly anything, because the key to success is adding value. And how you add value to anything is through the value cycle. You give first, you earn second, and you reward third. And that's how you can add value to anything and make anything, whether it's your relationships, your business, your clients, how you make it successful using value. Value is the common thread between all of your friends that have a lot of friends and your friends that don't have a lot of friends, aren't valuable. Not that they're not valuable, they're not adding value to people's lives. Value is the common thread between profitable businesses, rich people versus poor people, all of that. Value is the key to success. So ask yourself, how do I add value in the lives around me? How do I take these three principles, giving, earning, and rewarding? How do I take those three steps and apply them to wherever I am? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, in the chat. I would love to hear in the Discord. We might just have a hustle of the day for this in the Discord. And I'm super excited to hear your guys' thoughts and hear how you're going to apply the three principles of the cycle of value in your life and what you're building. So thank you very much for tuning in to Millionaire Mindset. As always, you guys matter so much to me and to this project, and I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you being part of what we are building as a community. And if you're not part of that community, check it out. Check out Hustle, HUSL, NFT.com and learn more about what we're building. Thank you very much and have a phenomenal Monday.